Hey, in this quick video, I want to show you how to customize SwiftCRM to your exact business. I don't know what your business is, but we're going to help you. So we've got two main types of customization to know about, one of which is custom assets, the other is custom pipelines. Custom pipelines are used for things that are kind of project-based, frequently changing. So for example, if you're in real estate and you have listings and then you have home buyers that you're working with, that would probably be better actually suited to a custom pipeline. Now, if you're a landlord, there you would want to use actual custom assets for your actual rental units. Now, custom assets can do so much more than that. It can be really anything that you care about, that you want to store notes and maybe accounting or inventory or photos or something like that. Let me dive in. So custom assets can be a lot of different things, and whether custom assets are better for you or a pipeline is better for you, I don't know. So take a look at both of these videos and understand kind of the benefits of each, and then you'll decide which one is better for you. So custom assets can be a fixed location thing. That could be such as like a rental unit, rental property. It could be also a facility that you manage. It could even be something like a congressional district if you're using us for, let's say, petition software and government and that kind of thing. It can be a movable thing. So that could be things like a boat, a snowmobile, a shipping container, a train car, right? People lease train cars, airplanes, whatever. Basically, and the upside to doing this is, let's say you run a boat rental club or an airplane club, then you want to store all the notes for the asset with this through this system. That's really what it's designed for. It could also be an expendable thing, which is really an expendable category of things. It would probably be a better way to describe that. So let's say that you run a cleaning company, or let's say you have a plumbing company or an auto mechanic, and you keep certain commonly used parts on hand. Let's say, oil filters if you're an auto mechanic, or cleaning supplies like, trash bags or something like that. Then what you could do is you could make a type of thing called inventory on hand, and then thus you could actually track basically the depletion of those assets and also notes about where did you buy them and that kind of thing. So it can actually be a custom category of things is probably a better way to think about that. It could all even be a temporary thing. So that could be like a trucking load, right? So let's say you're in a trucking business, then what you could do is you could create a custom asset for a trucking load and thus track the pickup location, the drop-off location, and then all of the accounting that goes with that, and sort of treat it almost like a project. Whether or not you'd want to use a custom asset for that or a pipeline, I don't know. You'd probably actually want to use a pipeline for that if you're actually in the trucking business, but it could happen. So same thing with something like a wedding. A wedding is obviously a bunch of people come together and you need a project management base, in which case you're dealing with, let's say, photographers and wedding planners and florists, and you have all these different people coming together in essentially a workroom. Then it's great for exactly that. Could even be something that's kind of intangible. So for example, if you're a mortgage broker, then this could be financing guidelines. It's something that doesn't change that often, although the rates change every single day and sometimes even multiple times per day. Then basically that's a way to store, let's say, something like that. It could even be if you're in investment management. So let's say that you run a hedge fund or private equity or something like that. And then what you could do is you could track as a custom asset. This isn't to diminish that, but basically by using custom assets, you've got certain things you can do other than managing contacts. So SwiftCloud, of course, has a really powerful contact editor, and you could do a lot with tags, but you could also choose to manage, let's say, pools, financing pools as a custom asset, and then track the performance of that. So let me just dive in. You can see this, and then what's the best way to customize this for your business. By all means, just reach out to us, have a conversation if we don't have a package for you. So the first thing you want to do, of course, is get logged in. On the very bottom left, you'll see a gear. Click Edit Profile. Once you do that, it's going to bring you to a page that looks something like this. If you scroll down, you'll see a section called About Your Business. As long as you're in business mode, you have to be in actual business mode, or a branch, company with sub-accounts, that kind of thing. It could be if you're an individual contributor or you're working with somebody and your account is tied and you're just an employee. I say just, but meaning like you wouldn't have certain permissions. If you're an employee at a certain company, they might not have given you that permission. So if you don't see it, then that you have to look at your account type. So anyway, I have this set to sub-account. Click on About Your Business, and in this case, we have a section called Custom Asset Types. We have a separate task slash job slash sales opportunity, and that pipeline or customization setting, and that's where you can track really things that are more project based, right? So that's where, if you're a realtor, for example, you'd want to track all of your listings, which are rapidly changing, and that's kind of treated as a project. It comes into your life, it's treated as a project, and then it's archived, and basically that, kind of go from there. For a landlord, there you'd want to probably track the actual asset, although you might want to track the placement using the pipeline or sales opportunity type. And these are, jobs to be chased. So in most sales-driven organizations, there you have sales opportunities, and you win some and you lose some. There you'd want to track that probably through the pipeline, aka task, job, sales opportunity type system. Custom assets, on the other hand, you can use to basically anything that you care about for the most part, although, like I said, it can be intangible. Once you open that up, you can choose an icon that sort of works for you, right? There's a bunch of different icons here. You can just kind of find something that's indicative. So you could put, boat, for example. And what you'd want to do is not list the actual boat here. This is where you'd want to just list the type of asset, right? I want to stress that. So if you are in the boat rental business, don't list the individual boats here. I'll show you. Basically, you do that from the main drive. So over here on the left side, click on what looks like 3 pancakes. It's actually a drive icon, or like a database icon. So if you click on that and you go to drive, then it'll bring you to a page that looks, let me get to there. I'll open this in the background. Basically, you'll get to a page that looks like this. So here's an actual detail page. In this case, I've already created one for demo purposes of a boat called kayak number 12, right? So if you had, let's say, a kayak adventure business, then what you'd want to do is create, in the custom assets, you'd want to go in here and you'd want to find boat, right? Just type in boat. And once you do that, then it'll choose that icon, right? So in this case, I want to do something intangible. For a different example, I want to put in a candidate. So if you're in a staffing business, then what you could do is you could put in a custom asset called a candidate to be placed, right? So candidate to be placed is both an asset that gets placed, and in addition, that might also be a pipeline, and you might use the two of these together. So the use of the candidate, pardon the language here, but basically the use of the candidate is expendable by exclusive use by agreement, meaning that the candidate can only be placed at one company in most cases. I guess if you're doing fractional talent, then technically it could be just not applicable, right? If you had, let's say, a fractional CTO or fractional CMO or something like that gets placed at 3 companies, then don't use exclusive, because it's going to tie up that asset, as it were. But nonetheless, this can help you if you're in the staffing business, that you don't basically replace them. Like once they're placed, that person's kind of off radar for a while, and you need to not place them again for the duration of that contract. For expendables, that's where you'd want to put something like inventory on hand, right? So if you were a plumber, cleaning company, something like that, then you'd probably just want to put in expendable, like inventory on hand. And then from the main drive, when you click add new, here's where you'd actually put trash bags, right? So, 5-gallon trash bags. And that's where you'd actually, so in this case, I'm putting it in as a boat, so that doesn't make any sense. But this is where I could put in kayak number 12, right? Kayak number 10, kayak number 13, kayak number whatever. You get the idea, like each one of the inventories that I want to track. And in some cases, you'll only have one of a type. So you could put in, let's say, facility to manage. So let's say that you have a physical office and you're using this to manage physical facilities. Then you might want to manage, let's say, the boardroom, and you want to store individual notes about the boardroom. And you might even want to set that up as exclusive use by scheduler. And then what you do is you set up a scheduler called boardroom. And then what you do is that way that asset is in use tied to the scheduler. So I think you get the idea here. Location can be fixed, it can be variable, or it can be just not even applicable. So not applicable, that would be things like let's say a financing pool. Like what's the return on investment for this private equity pool? Well, obviously location doesn't really matter. But within that, you might have actual sub-assets of, let's say, a bunch of fast food companies, right? A bunch of McDonald's or something like that. Then you would have each of those with a fixed location, and then what you could do is, McDonald's number 13, and you'd actually put in the location of that, and this can help you sort of sort that out and also generate tracking and stuff like that. So if you've got a a variable location that would be obviously used for things like shipping, like a boat, right? And you want to actually track the location of that boat, or it could even be used for like a train car or something like that. So as you can see, this whole system is incredibly flexible and powerful. So again, you can use fixed location things, you can use movable things, you can use expendable things, you can use temporary things, and you can use intangible things. Those are the 5 main categories of assets. I hope this helps you, and if you have any questions, by all means, reach out to us. Happy to help. Thanks.